Right now, somewhere in your house, you're probably humming, or you were 10 minutes ago and didn't notice. Maybe it was while you were making coffee, or in the shower, or driving somewhere you've driven 100 times before. You weren't thinking about it. You weren't performing for anyone. You were just doing it, the way you always do, the way you've done your whole life, without ever once asking yourself why. It seems like such a small thing, a sound with no words, no real purpose, just noise leaking out of you while you go about your day, except it isn't small, and it isn't random, and the reason you hum, the actual biological reason, is one of the oldest things your body still does. Older than language, older than music, older, in some ways, than the part of your brain that makes you human at all. The obvious answer most people reach for is that humming is about music. You heard a song, it got stuck in your head, and now it's coming out. And sure, that happens, but it doesn't explain why people hum when there's no song, when they're washing dishes at 7 a.m. in total silence, when they're anxious in a waiting room, when they're alone in a way that has nothing to do with melody. The song is often just something the hum wraps itself around. The hum was already there. Here's what's actually happening. Running down the center of your body is a nerve. It starts in your brainstem, travels through your throat, winds around your heart and lungs, and reaches all the way into your gut. It's called the vagus nerve, and it is one of the most important pieces of biological machinery you carry. It regulates your heart rate, your breathing, your digestion. It is the main cable connecting your brain to the rest of your body, and it runs in both directions. Your brain sends signals down, but your body sends signals back up, and one of the fastest ways to send a calming signal upward through that nerve, to tell your nervous system that everything is okay, is to produce a low, steady, resonant sound in your throat. Humming activates the vagus nerve, directly, physically. The vibration in your vocal cords stimulates it, and that stimulation travels upward into the brain like a message. We're okay. Settle down. Keep going. Researchers have actually measured this. Studies tracking heart rate variability, one of the most reliable indicators of how well your vagus nerve is functioning, consistently show that humming improves it. Your heart rate becomes more flexible and responsive. Your stress response dials back. One study published in the journal Curious used continuous monitoring to compare what humming does to the body against physical activity, emotional stress, and even sleep. Humming produced the lowest stress index of all of them. You don't decide to do this. Your body decides. It reaches for humming the way it reaches for a deep breath, automatically, because something in your nervous system knows it works. And here's the thing, you are not the only animal that does this. Cats purr, elephants rumble, primates produce low, rhythmic vocalizations when they're calm, when they're feeding, when they're close to others they trust. These sounds are not communication in the traditional sense. They're not warnings or mating calls or territorial signals. They're something quieter than that. Research on cats has shown they purr not just when content, but specifically when stressed or in pain, as a self-soothing mechanism, a way to regulate their own nervous system. The vibration tells the body it's safe, and it works on frequencies between 25 and 150 Hz, which happen to be the same frequencies studied for their effects on tissue healing, pain reduction, and nervous system regulation. Your hum is the same thing, a mammalian self-soothing sound that survived millions of years of evolution and is still running in the background of your daily life, underneath the coffee maker, underneath the commute, underneath everything. But there's a layer underneath even that. Vocalizing together does something to a group that vocalizing alone doesn't. A 2020 study published in Frontiers in Physiology found that when people produce long sustained sounds together, even people with no musical training, their heart rate variability synchronizes. Their nervous systems begin to move in the same rhythm, and researchers studying the evolution of human musicality, including work published in the Philosophical Transactions of the Royal Society, have argued that this is not an accident. Group vocalization likely served as one of the earliest bonding mechanisms humans had, before language, before ritual in any organized sense. Just shared sound, pulling scattered nervous systems toward the same state, which means humming together wasn't entertainment, it was social technology, a way to turn a group of anxious individuals into something more coordinated, more connected, more capable of functioning as a unit. The groups that could do this had an advantage, and the behavior stayed, and then language arrived, and something strange happened. When humans developed speech, humming didn't disappear, but it changed roles. It moved underground. It became the thing you do when words aren't needed, when you're alone, when the part of your brain that manages social performance goes quiet, and this is where it gets revealing. Think about when you hum, really think about it. It's almost always when you're by yourself, or deep in a task, or when your mind has drifted somewhere else entirely, and the moment someone walks into the room, you stop, immediately, without thinking. The hum cuts off like you've been caught doing something private, because you have. You've been caught doing something ancient, something pre-social, something that belongs to the part of you that existed before you learned to worry about how you sound. The hum is what's left when the performance stops. Researchers who study spontaneous vocalization, sounds people make without intending to, describe humming as one of the clearest windows into the automatic nervous system. When you hum, you're not trying to communicate, you're not trying to entertain, you're not doing it for anyone. You're doing it because some deep, wordless part of your biology reached for a tool it has been using for millions of years and quietly deployed it while you weren't paying attention. And the situations that trigger it are telling. People hum more during repetitive tasks where the mind has nothing new to process. They hum more when they're alone. They hum more when they're managing mild stress but holding it together. The body is running a background program, keeping the nervous system in check, and it doesn't need your permission to do it. There's one more piece. Children hum more than adults, significantly more. Before they have words, before they can ask for what they need or explain how they feel, babies produce low, rhythmic sounds to self-soothe. They hum, they coo, they make gentle sounds in the dark. It's one of the earliest self-regulating behaviors researchers observe in infants. And as they grow up and language takes over, and the social rules about which sounds are appropriate start to close in, the humming gets quieter. It retreats to private moments, to empty rooms, to the space between thoughts. But it never fully leaves, because the need it was built to serve never leaves. Stress doesn't disappear when you learn to talk. Anxiety doesn't stop because you have words for it. The nervous system still needs anchoring, and so the ancient tool is still there, still running, still doing its job in the background of your life every single day. You don't hum because you're musical. You don't hum because you're happy, though sometimes you are. You hum because somewhere underneath everything you've learned to be, there is still a mammal, doing what mammals do when they need to feel safe. The next time you catch yourself humming in an empty kitchen, or in the car, or while you're doing something your hands know how to do without your brain being involved, notice it. Notice what you were feeling right before it started. Notice that the moment you became aware of it, it stopped. That stopping is the social brain switching back on, and the hum is what was there before it did. It's been there a long time, long before the songs you know, long before the words you use, long before you had any idea that something so quiet could mean something so deep.